All right, so here at the Roberts Insurance Group, we work with a lot of real estate investors throughout the state of Georgia, and something that many investors are doing nowadays is listing their properties on Airbnb or VRBO, and just renting them out short term. If you didn't already know this, it's a great way to increase the profits on a rental property. The margins on those tend to be a lot higher than your traditional long-term rental property. But if this is something that you decide to do, here are some things you need to be aware of. So number one, we always recommend, whether it's with us or someone else, but to work with a local independent insurance agent or agency. Because more times than not, they're going to be able to get you a much better value than working directly with one insurance company or a captive agency. And we've gone into the detail on this before, but independent insurance agents, they have a lot more carriers to choose from, carriers that are very competitive depending on the area, very competitive in pricing and coverage depending on the type of risk that's associated. So they're going to have a lot more options for you, and if you are in the business to make money and make a profit, it only makes sense to work with an independent agent to make sure that you are maximizing those profits. So that's one thing that we would recommend. Number two is to let your insurance agent know. So many times we hear, 2-3 years later, and they're like, oh yeah, clients will say, oh yeah, we've been renting this out short term. Via Airbnb or VRBO or something like that. And so you absolutely have to make your insurance agent and company aware that this is what you're doing, so that they can properly rate your policy and put the proper endorsement on there. The last thing you would want is for a claim not to be covered just because you didn't pick up the phone or shoot an email or whatever the case might be. So make sure your insurance agent and insurance company are aware that the property is being rented short term. Next would be having adequate liability coverage. So, this is true for just about any type of property and casualty insurance, but it's even a bigger factor, in my opinion, for short-term rental properties. And that's because with so many people coming in and out, so much different foot traffic at your property, the chances of a lawsuit or liability claim arising are going to be much higher than if it's your own home or if it is a long-term rental property. So we recommend having at least $1 million of coverage for liability. This can be done through just increasing the coverage on an individual policy or by adding a liability umbrella policy. So having the adequate liability coverage is definitely important to making sure you and your business and your investment are properly covered. And lastly, you want to make sure you have loss of income coverage or loss of rental income on your policy. Like I just said, you're in the business to make money. This property is a cash cow for you and it's spitting you out money every month. If something happens and you're not able to rent this property for a period of time, you still want to make sure that your income is coming in no matter what. And so having that loss of income coverage on your policy is the only way you can really guarantee that. And so that's definitely a vital coverage to have. So that's all the tips for today. Like I had mentioned, we're the Roberts Insurance Group in Canton, Georgia. We work with investors throughout the state, anything from commercial properties to residential to fix and flips to long-term rentals to short-term rentals. We can help you out. It's something we do all day, every day. So give us a call if this is something you're considering, or if you already have a portfolio. We'd love to take a look at that for you, see what we could help with. Give us a call, 678-250-8133.